welcome back to the class, everyone. Today is News City, apparently, for Galaxy of Heroes. We have not one, but two kit reveals and a rework all coming down the pipeline. So without further ado, let's get into it. And yes, before you jump to the comment section, I'm already aware, protection up, Luminara bad, etc. But we do have plenty of other good things to talk about, like the fact that we actually know what Mace Windu himself is going to do, and we know ultimately what the team is going to look like, because CG not only flat out told us, but they've actually given us a definition for what the fifth character was going to be. Now, for those of you who probably don't know what I'm exactly referring to, it is the fact that in-game, we already had an outline that obviously Master Mace Windu would be the leader, Jocasta Nu would be the lifter for a team that didn't exist yet, Temple Guard and Depa Billaba, who are not currently in-game, but the last piece of the puzzle has essentially been given to us through Aayla Secura, and they've actually detailed what she is going to be doing with her rework. All they're going to be doing, and it's actually a pretty good thing, all they're actually going to be doing is adding a very specific, unique ability to her kit that is not only going to make her good, but it's also going to synergize with everything that her kit was already doing that was quite important. I do find it interesting in here that when in Depa Billaba's kit, which is the one that dropped first, they mentions that, oh, there are many Vanguards to choose from. That's not really true. Like, I know there's multiple Vanguards in-game, but come on, like, that Kit Fisto, actually Kit Fisto literally can't do anything because of something else they put in the kit. But like I'm a Gundai and Jedi Consular, unless you were reworking them too, they had no shot. But anyways, the rework actually looks really good. She's going to be getting an entirely new unique, different from what she currently has in her kit. You can see it's not currently there, called Let It Guide You, and it is a Zeta ability, which I guess is fair. Aayla Secura didn't have a Zeta before this, so it's, I mean, she's still probably below average for average amount of Zetas. It does have some stipulations here, which is, at the start of the battle, if Jedi Master Mace Windu is in the leader slot, and there are no other Jedi Vanguard attackers with a leader ability, then the rest of this becomes true. I find this really interesting that they felt it necessary to put both caveats in there, because if you can't tell what they're trying to do, they're trying to make sure that Kelleron Beck isn't also on the team, which I think, I get they want Kelleron Beck to kind of be, at least in TW, leading a lot of the normal Galactic Republic Jedi that aren't necessarily Jedi Vanguard. At that point, though, I mean, maybe just, like, don't give him the tag. It just seems really weird, because I feel like the stipulation alone that it has to be with Master Mace Windu would already be enough. I don't really see why he can't, like, be on the team, unless they were really just trying to keep out the super powerful Kit Fisto with his 20% offense boost off the team. Because really, those are the only two Jedi Vanguard that fit the criteria for attacker with a leadership ability. But anyways, they felt that necessary to exclude, which I guess is interesting. I think that really only is going to hurt the people who don't have Jocasta yet, which actually might be a lot, but maybe, I don't know, the Venn diagram is for people who are getting new Legendary and don't have Conquest character. Anyways, the actual rework does a lot of really good things, as I alluded to earlier. At the start of the encounter, inflict all enemies with defense down for 2 turns. That's great. All Jedi Vanguard gain 30% max health, potency, tenacity until the end of the battle, and 30% protection until the first time Aayla is defeated. Stat boosts are always nice. These are often usually just for the character themselves to make them more relevant, but I do enjoy the fact that she's giving it to the entire team. That seems fine. She gets an additional 50% critical chance and tenacity, 30% defense, and 5% offense per relical amplifier. This is pretty important because Aayla, as a legacy or just really old character, has pretty bad stats, and one of the things that really stinks is if she gets dazed and she can no longer counterattack here, then she loses a lot of her overall viability. So giving her that extra tenacity will also help. Her already having a boosted crit chance, and when she stuns her target for 1 turn, or she does stun them whenever she critically hits. So there's a lot of things going on here that they're specifically giving in the kit to boost her, that she's not just going to throw away or be average for her, but it's actually going to leverage her even further because she really doesn't want to get dazed, so tenacity helps. And then 50% critical chance is really going to help her land the stuns that she wants to do. And then again, the offense and defense help offset some of the older character stats that she's a part of. Whenever she stuns an enemy, which is common, it's in her unique ability, so it should be often. All Vanguard or Jedi Vanguard allies recover 20% health protection. Seems really good. And whenever she critically hits an enemy, she gains critical chance and critical damage until the end of the encounter. And if the enemy had a stack of investigation, which is a big part of Mace's kit, they gain another stack of investigation. This is what I was kind of referring to earlier when I said it seems silly that they mentioned that, oh yeah, there's plenty of Jedi Vanguards that you could probably use. You really don't want to use any of them other than Aayla. Like, again, that's assuming you have Jocasta and the other two, which I guess you have to have the other two because the requirements. But still, like, you're never gonna not want to use Aayla. And despite the fact that this is not very Calvin friendly because Ayla's name isn't Luminara, it is player friendly because not only is Luminara, or Aayla, accessible, but she's also a requirement already for JMK at Relic 3. So while you do probably want to put more Relic levels on there, you're pretty much halfway done to begin with. And finally, if all allies were Jedi Vanguard at the start of the encounter, which they have to be, and there are no Galactic Legend enemies whenever an enemy attacks at a turn, which is common, all Jedi Vanguard recover 15% health and protection, and the ally they attack dispels all debuffs on themselves. If an enemy is called to assist, all other enemies lose 8% turn meter. You know what this seems like a direct counter to? And it's even more suspicious to me that it was just tacked on there at the end. This seems like CG hasn't been super pleased with Mon Mothma's recent performance against Lord Vader and clones. So I feel like they just on a whim decided to test this and or add this to their testing when that problem occurred, because this seems like a pretty direct call out to, attacking out of turn meter loops. It seems like this was probably beating Mace pretty well and probably just won't be able to now. There is some fun Q&A stuff here. I do find this hilarious. I know it's not relevant, but it's still really funny. If you do put Jedi Knight Anakin on a Mace Windu team, not only is it bad because he's not Vanguard, so it ruins almost everything, he also doesn't get mastery increases because, he's on the council, but he's not quite a master. And then I'm not going to go through all the intricacies for this, but Mace Windu is bringing this whole investigation and revealed debuffs out there. They're going to help leverage him and really kind of define his relationship at the very end of his life with Sidious, or what we believe to be the very end of his life. I'm not going to go through the entire kit here just because it's a lot, and a lot of it's going to take some time to digest, especially with the other kits. But the basic already seems massively broken. Deal physical damage to target enemy, and if all allies were Jedi Vanguard, which again you want to happen, inflict them with Shatterpoint until the end of the encounter, which can't be copied, dispelled, evaded, or resisted. And if they already had Shatterpoint, reduce the cooldowns of all Jedi Vanguard allies by 1 turn. So he's going to be handing out Shatterpoint in a very different way that the original Mace did. And for those of you who don't remember what Shatterpoint does, it's pretty nuts. It receiving damage, so again, this will be after. It dispels Shatterpoint and reduces defense, max health, and offense by 10% for the rest of the encounter. Enemies can ignore taunt to target this unit. So he's essentially getting a way, or he's giving away to his allies to be able to bypass the taunt. And then overall, this has just been a really nice mechanic specifically against characters that aren't Galactic Legends, but are still really tanky, like Malgus or Malak or Crew, or, the list kind of goes on and on. Decapitation Strike. I'm a little bit disappointed that this doesn't just auto-kill Jango, because that was actually a kind of a fun thing that they did at one point for a TW war bonus. But at the end of the day, it's still a good ability. It gives tenacity up. It does start to involve a lot of the investigation that he's going to utilize a lot. A very, very thematic kit. If the enemy in the leader slot was already defeated, aka, he already, let's say, took down Sidious, which I guess didn't really happen, doubt can't be dispelled, evaded, or resisted. So kind of a what-if scenario here, where if Mace actually did kill Palpatine, he wouldn't be able to deceive anybody else, and they would actually be doubting him the entire time. Again, kind of fun. If the target enemy was revealed, the damage is tripled. So he is an attacker. I didn't say that, but that is something that's going to happen. The Jedi Temple Guard is really the dedicated taunting tank for the team, or just tank in general. Dispel all debuffs on all Jedi Vanguard allies and deal physical damage to all enemies. All Jedi Vanguard allies gain offense up. If target enemy had 1 stack investigation, called Depabalaba to assist, which she loves to do. If target enemy was revealed, all Jedi Vanguard allies assist, and if Depabalaba is an ally, she assists again. And now here comes to more the meat of the kit, where, and we kind of saw this coming, and really we were hoping this was coming. He's going to be a territory war intensive character. And the reason why we were hoping for this is because if you look on the already existing team, there's already too many Omicrons for GAC happening here. Jocasta Nu herself already has 3, 2 of which look to probably be good. Temple Guard already has 1, also which already kind of looks to be good. So, as much as like Omicrons have been slightly increased over time, I don't really want to put 7 on one team. The Seer Malicos team, where I think we pretty much already have to put 6 with Starkiller, that was already a lot. I was not looking to have to do that again. So that is pretty promising, and they do seem to make things equal. And by that, one of the things that they actually do in the unique, and I'm kind of jumping around here, I know. One of the things they do that's really cool is it actually makes Jocasta Nu stronger in territory wars. So currently a character that's not doing much because Mace isn't really around, she actually will be a good conquest character in territory wars, despite the fact that her GAC Omicrons obviously aren't active. She'll get 100% defense, max health, protection, and she can't be targeted until Mace Windu is defeated. So again, very thematic lore thing here, where Mace has to essentially be defeated before the Jedi Temple can later be raided, where Jocasta Nu is eventually killed. But this is really good for her too, because this will buy her enough time to do everything that she wants to do with her gun and eventually deal a lot of damage. So one of the things that they also did in here, and I don't know, I didn't feel great about it until I saw the last text, but in this unique ability, it says that Galactic Legends and Sith enemies can't be revealed, which seems a little bit interesting because the main character that was revealed, kind of by Mace, also kind of by Anakin, mostly by Anakin, but we'll just leave that out for now, was essentially a Galactic Legend Sith, aka Palpatine. But one of the reasons for this is, again, they're really trying to fit him into being a TW superpower, where at the very end of his kit, Galactic Legends can now be revealed. I'm guessing that might still exclude the Sith ones, aka Lord Vader and Sith Eternal, but at least he might have an edge against some of the other Galactic Legends that are pretty common. So overall, kit seems pretty good. I think one of the things that's going to be hard to measure is both in his kit, Depbalaba's kit, even Aayla's kit, there's a lot of stat things running around. We had the Shatter Point that we saw at the very beginning. We see the low morale here that he also does that just has negative defense, health, offense, and speed. We saw all the bonuses that were coming with Aayla. I've not talked about Depbalaba's kit at all, but there's also some stat things going around with her, I believe. Yeah, so she has 70% counter chance offense, and then it has recovery on top of that. Also, she has a territory battle Omicron, if anyone cared. So I think it's going to be hard to judge what the team will ultimately be doing. I'm guessing it will be very similar to Balin, where within the proper game mode we'll do very well, and then against Galactic Legends, and then outside of that we'll still kind of be like an A-tier team that's beating things like Queen Amidala or Gungans or a lot of the newer stuff out there that not everything necessarily can punch up again. So we'll see. We already kind of knew all the requirements at Relic 5, and he is obviously required for the current, I believe it's called Era Battle. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys are excited. But overall, I guess I'm happy for Aayla, you know? If it can't be Luminara, I guess it might as well be her. Thank you guys for watching. Until the next time, stay awesome.